Trittan Harivaka Sanghan Chatur Vidhasi Bhagavat Prasada Sadvana Trittan Harivaka Sanghan Daiva Triting Bhajata Sadaiva Daiva Triting Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Gura Sri Charanarabindam Vande Gura Sri Charanarabindam Vande Gura Sri Charanarabindam Sri Radhika Madhavaya Para Madhu Jalila Gunarupa Namnam Sri Radhika Madhavaya Para Madhu Jalila Gunarupa Namnam Pratikshana Swadana Lalupasam Pratikshana Swadana Lalupasam Bande Kurasi Charanarabindam Bande Kurasi Charanarabindam Bande Kurasi Charanarabindam Sangsarada Vanananda Loka Pranaya Kadina Khana Khanatyam Prapta Sakalnan Gunanavasa Bandhe Gurachi Charanarabindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome, all of you around the world, to our Saturday morning Bhagavad-gītā As It Is reading and discussion from the unedited, unchanged, unadulterated book, Bhagavad-gītā As It Is from Srila Prabhupada. And that's very significant because this is the thrust of our preaching based on Prabhupada's instructions to us. Don't change anything. Yet, so many things have been changed by other people, mostly by our godbrothers, unfortunately. And this is a reality that we have to deal with. And people would say, well, how come you bring this up all the time? Well, it's most important to understand this because if you don't, you cannot understand transcendental knowledge. It has to be received from a bona fide source based on his instructions. Because the false ego is out of control. for the living entities. False ego, ahankara. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Yes, and everybody's under this conception of I, me, and mine. And what is it? My body. Basically, it's the body. They're thinking, oh, look at how pretty I am, or handsome. Look at how educated I am. Look at how rich I am. Look how powerful I am. Look at how famous I am. And certainly, they try to be Bhagawan, but they're not renounced. The most opulent quality of Krishna is his renunciation. Like, think about it. My friend Abhimanyu was mentioning to me earlier. It's interesting that Lord Chaitanya did not initiate any disciples, did he? No. He wasn't interested in any number of followers. But why are people so interested in acquiring disciples, especially our godbrothers who are not qualified? Because of false ego. And false ego is all pervasive in this material world, despite the fact that we are animals. Oh, yes, we are. Now, someone would say, what do you mean I'm an animal? You know, you go out on the street and you see people walking their dogs. I was talking to Ron Singh yesterday in Sacramento. I was saying, you know, I live on an upscale street here in Hamilton. Yes, I do. I got this house years ago, 35 years ago. And, you know, everybody brings their dogs to the boulevard here. It's a boulevard, a historic site. And they walk. Well, what do you see all the time? People going and picking up dog poo. That's what they do. I've told that story a few times because we have many new people in our program. I'm going to tell it again. We were on a morning walk on the Don Valley Parkway. I took Prabhupada around, and Yasoda noticed, he said, he saw a picture of me the other, is that you in the picture? I go, yeah, I was the driver. That was when I drove Prabhupada to Subal Vilas's house, Batra, SC Batra. But at another time, I took Prabhupada to Don Valley Park. So we go on the parkway, and it's a big sort of green space in the city of Toronto. And we go down, we're walking along, and he sees this sign. And it was the first time they had introduced these signs in the city as rules in Canada. Before, you used to be able to go on walks and you just let the dog pass, and then you just walk away. Goodbye. So everything was becoming covered with dog stool everywhere. So they started these rules. Stoop and scoop. Stoop and scoop. And they have a sign with the owners standing beside the dog with a little shovel, and you pick it up and you have to put it in a garbage or some kind of disposable item. And Prabhupada was walking around, and he had his cane with him, Prabhu Shiv Narayan. He had his cane with him. And he stopped, and he took his cane, and he pointed it up at the sign. He laughed. He laughed. He looked at all of us, and we were, well. And he goes, this is the difference between us and them, he goes. They worship God, dog, and we worship God. They worship D-O-G, and we worship G-O-D. Interesting. Dog. This is the human being that's not trained in Krishna consciousness, is no different than a sophisticated cat or dog. Because what is the business of the dog? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and passing stool. Oh, yes. You look at fancy politicians. They're all dressed in their suits. They've got their nice ties. They got perfect teeth. All false ego. But every day they pass stool 2 or 3 times a day. Oh, yes, they do. And these big fat ones that eat meat, can you imagine how that gross that must be? And they put a gold toilet there. Oh, I'm going to sit on a gold toilet and pass stool. Sophisticated. Dogs and cats, Michael. That's the reality. Everybody here has to pass stool all the time. In fact, what happens when you use your system excessively due to bad diet, eventually you get hemorrhoids. That's a very common disease. And if you carry on and you eat sinful food, which is everybody's business, like you see these ads on TV where they're advertising Burger King or McDonald's, and they're promoting pure Canadian beef. Get a beef and bacon burger. My God, how insane is that? But this is the way of the world. False ego. I am the body. Yeah, you're the body. You know that famous story. I won't tell it right now. Liquid Beauty. This body is made of bile, pus, stool, urine, pimples, rotten teeth. Huh? Am I right? But we think I'm important. No, you're not. You're an animal. That's what you are. Because that is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and a person in Maya. The person in Maya thinks I'm the body. And a person in Krishna consciousness knows we are not this body. And Prabhupada taught that all the time. That was the principle, not prema bhakti. I'm looking at some different Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. I'm looking at some of these articles that some of our God brothers are writing about Raganuga Bhakti and Bhava and all these high-level philosophical points about Krishna consciousness, which is very dangerous. Because if you start to think that you become a big devotee, there's a high chance, Prabhupada said, for fall down. There is a high chance, like the Gopi Bhavat clique. Michael Dillon? Where you think, oh, I'm going to wear a sari and walk around and pretend I'm a gopi. That's gone on in our movement. So many mental concoctions, so much mental speculation. Listen, the point is this, Prabhus. We are the servants of the servant of Srila Prabhupada. And if you don't understand that, and you don't accept Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation, and you think that Vapu is more important, you're finished. Spiritually, you will not be able to advance, not in this lifetime or in the next. And if you follow those people, yes, you're also doomed. It's a society of cheaters and the cheated, and that's a fact. So it's so important that people get good instruction. Yes, it's very important. This is not whimsical. And more important than, and we were discussing this morning with Abhimanyu, he was pointing something out, and I looked it up for Rupa Goswami to put on the screen. The difference between Diksha and Siksha. Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru. Like, for example, when you're a president in a temple, when Prabhupada was alive with us in his manifested presence, the temple president was positioned to be Siksha Guru for the members of the temple. And Prabhupada sent me multiple letters, and make sure you chant your rounds and set a good example for all the members of your temple, and everybody march together, be Krishna conscious as a team. Siksha Guru. And this Siksha Guru principle is very important, not Diksha. Siksha, because you get initiation. But what does initiation mean, Michael? Do you know? It means to start, initiate. Then you must have your Bhakti Lata Bija watered with proper direction. Do this like a farmer. Does the farmer just put the seed in the ground and just walk away? Okay, grow. What happens when you do that, Michael? Nothing. So association with qualified devotees, those people that understand the difference between Vani and Vapu, is critical for sincere people who want to make advancement in spiritual life. Yes, sincere and serious. Prabhupada stressed that. In a recent class, I heard him repeat over and over again, initiation is not a system for a fashion, he says. You don't get a guru for fashion. You take a guru because you're serious about spiritual life. I'm going to finish up here. We have rules and regulations now in our group for people that want to get initiated. According to our instructions we receive personally from Srila Prabhupada. We're not concocting this. There were rules. For example, originally when a person joined the temple in Toronto, they had to attend 6 months full-time coming to Mangal Arati. They had to follow the 4 regulated principles. They had to render service in the temple under the direction of the temple president. If you were told you have to clean the floors, you had to do it. When I first joined the movement, I was the chief janitor. Yes, I was. I was a famous person, relatively speaking, back then. But at the same time, when I joined the temple, I used to clean the bathrooms for all the people in the house. And then I got a chance to clean Prabhupada's bathroom in 1971 because I was the temple commander in Hamilton Temple. And I got a mercy. I'll tell that story later, how Prabhupada blessed me with prasadam the first time, his orts, the first time I met him. Can you imagine? Bhakta Bobby got the orts of the spiritual master. And I've had Prabhupada remnants multiple times, just so you all know that. It's a fact. Oh, why are you bragging? There's no brag. These are facts. You know, everybody has their destiny. Everybody has their time and place in the eternity. And you have to see and count your blessings. So our initiation process, the Siksha process, you have to come to classes for 6 months. Yes. You have to pass the examinations. You have to read the books. You have to chant your rounds. Yes. Otherwise, if you're not serious about this process, don't ask for initiation. Don't bother. It's not necessary. Be a follower and work on this, and eventually, whatever, if it's your destiny and Krishna inspires you, we're here to facilitate. And we have a good example in Mexico of the couple there that are preaching, that are with us, Kishori and his Krishna Kishore and his wife, and they're recommending people. We had some people from Venezuela that sent us a request for initiation. Okay. So I mentioned it to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, and we both discussed it. And I said, well, what we'll do is I'll get a hold of Krishna Kishore. He can review them. And if he reviews them and he approves them, then we'll facilitate. Yes, just like we did when Prabhupada was present. And this is how we're moving forward. And there's many new disciples, Prabhupada disciples in South America under their direction and guidance. Rupa Goswami, do you have that section about Siksha and Diksha? We'll finish off with that. If you can put that up. Thank you. Prabhupada, then so Siksha and Diksha Guru. A Siksha Guru who instructs against the instruction of the spiritual is not a Siksha Guru. He is a demon. Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru means sometimes a Diksha Guru is not present. Thank you. Always. Therefore, one can take learning, instruction from an advanced devotee. Look at Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. He has hundreds of pastimes that he personally experienced with Prabhupada. He shares them with us in our classes. And this is a chance for all of us to make advancement and have association with a devotee that had association with Prabhupada. I'll deviate for 1 second. I can remember years ago, Yaśodā-nandana, this point when I was raised as a Roman Catholic. I was an altar boy, and there was a priest that came to the temple. And it was announced that he was associating with the Bishop of New York City. And they used to say to me, we're going to let you shake the hand of the Bishop of New York. What do you think of that? I was flattered. Completely mad, but indoctrinated. We talked about indoctrination. Indoctrination by Christianity, not education. This is called Siksha Guru. Siksha Guru does not mean he is speaking something against the teachings of the Diksha Guru. He is not a Siksha Guru. He is a rascal. That's what these God brothers are doing. They're rascals of the first order. Prabhupada is initiating us with knowledge as Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru should instruct us based on the knowledge given by Diksha Guru. Good instruction from sadhus is really important for practical advancement. Krishna is so kind that he wants to help us as spiritual master in 2 ways. He helps us from within as Chaita Guru, and he expands himself externally as Siksha Guru, his instructor, as an instructor, and Diksha Guru as initiator. So the principle is that whatever you are instructed by Chaita Guru internally may be confirmed by the instructor or initiating Guru. Then your progress will be complete. And this was a letter to Shivananda in New Vrindavan in May 21st, 1969. And finally, from Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, the initiating spiritual master, Diksha Guru, knows his causeless mercy by giving his disciples instructions in chanting the mantra. You get initiated, first initiation into the Hare Krishna mantra, by the way, everyone. By so doing, he points the disciple in the direction of the truths pertaining to the Supreme Lord. Lord Sri Krishna, I consider the numerous instructing spiritual masters, Shiksha Gurus, to be more important, for they show more mercy by training the sadhakas in all the essential aspects of sadhana bhakti. So I think this is some way to understand what's going on here. Practically, in 2025. This is not a joke. And people that offend the members of our society, they are committing hati mata. All of our God brothers that preach this philosophy, this is a vapu over vani, they are committing the mad elephant offense, and their followers are also being misled and misinformed. And this is the greatest disservice that you can do to your spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And that's it for the morning. And we're going to move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. I've been meditating on this for the last couple of days, Prabhu. I wasn't sure what to say, but this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and our spiritual master, that we as a group, not just one of us, all of us, Shiv Narayan, Vijaya Pandit, Krishna Kata, Ran Singh, Amber, Tom, Chaitanya Das, Joe. I'm looking at the names I can see. I don't see your faces, but I see your names. All of you are Siksha. That's the point. And you share this knowledge with other people. And in this way, this movement might be saved. You might save other people from falling into the deep, dark well of Vapu. Over Vani. Hare Krishna. Let's go for the chanting of Srila Prabhupada and his Jaya Radha Madhava, the bhajan. Michael, sing along and absorb yourself in hearing carefully the reading and discussion this morning. Hare Krishna.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Swayam Swatharam Shri-Radha-Acārya Siddhara Sadasyaman Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridharan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Ishula Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. This reading is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan Bhagavad-gītā, the non-adulterated, non-modified original edition by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we'll be reciting a few Sanskrit verses which were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself early in 1966, when he started his lecture series on the Bhagavad-gītā in New York, USA. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita-Acharya, Gadada, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will proceed with our reading. We are reading from Bhagavad-gītā chapter 13, text number 8 through 12. Let me see where we are in the purport. I think we're a little further down. Are we? Okay, here we go. Happiness and distress. Okay, one can never... What is that?
So from here, naturally, when one is adopted to the spiritual life.
Okay, we are reading from page 633 in the purport to chapter 13, text 8 through 12. One can never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress. So one should be detached from the materialistic way of life and be automatically equiposed in both cases. Generally, when we get something desirable, we are very happy. And when we get something undesirable, we are distressed. But if we are actually in the spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. To reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna without deviation means engaging oneself in the 9 processes of devotional service: chanting, hearing, worshiping, offering respect, etc., as described in the last verse of the 9th chapter. That process should be followed. Naturally, when one is adapted to the spiritual way of life, he will not want to mix with materialistic men. That would go against his grain. One may test himself by seeing how far he is inclined to live in a solitary place without unwanted association. Naturally, a devotee has no taste for, next page, naturally a devotee has no taste for unnecessary sporting or cinema going or enjoying some social function because he understands that these are simply a waste of time. There are many research scholars and philosophers who study sex life or some other subject, but according to Bhagavad-gītā, such research work and philosophical speculation have no value. That is more or less nonsensical. According to Bhagavad-gītā, one should make research by philosophical discretion into the nature of the soul. One should make research to understand with what the self is concerned. That is recommended here. As far as self-realization is concerned, it is clearly stated here that Bhakti Yoga is especially practical. As soon as there is a question of devotion, one must consider the relationship between the super soul and the individual soul. The individual soul and the super soul cannot be one, at least not in the bhakti conception, the devotional conception of life. This service of the individual soul to the Supreme Soul is eternal, nityam, as is it clearly stated. So bhakti or devotional service is eternal. One should be established in that philosophical conviction. Otherwise, it is only a waste of time, ignorance. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is explained, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam. Those who are actually knowers of the absolute truth know that the self is realized in three different phases, as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-11. Bhagavan is the last word in the realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, one should reach up to that platform of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That is perfection of knowledge. Beginning from practicing humility up to the point of realization of the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, this process is just like a staircase beginning from the ground floor up to the top floor. Now, on this staircase, there are so many people who have reached the first floor, the second or third floor, etc. But unless one reaches the top floor, which is the understanding of Krishna, he is at a lower stage of knowledge. If anyone wants to compete with God and at the same time make advancement in spiritual knowledge, he will be frustrated. It is clearly stated that without humility, understanding is harmful. To think oneself God is most puffed up. Although the living entity is always being kicked out by the stringent laws of material nature, still he thinks, I am God, because of ignorance. One should be humble and know that he is subordinate to the Supreme Lord. Due to rebellion against the Supreme Lord, one becomes subordinate to material nature. One must know and be convinced of this truth. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshata Adadana Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyam Sadadasu Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pekshako Nityam Tat Presta Shatkaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. While Vishwakarma Prabhu was talking, I posted a few different quotes from Srila Prabhupada's teachings about practicing Krishna consciousness at home. Now, this is very important because we see, practically speaking, how many devotees are no longer living in the official temples. They're practicing at home. Most devotees are with family or wife and family and children. They have jobs or businesses or various engagements. And the question comes up, well, how do we practice Krishna consciousness? Because as we all know, and it's been explained many times, we've all experienced a certain degrees or various degrees of concerns with what has happened in Srila Prabhupada's original society, with the way that the teachings are being practiced and / or misrepresented. So therefore, it's important to understand what is the solution, what is the alternative. If one is not happy or was not satisfied with what is going on, it is explained in Prabhupada's books in various places. Now I'm going to start with a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 27. Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text number 27. This is an excerpt from the purport. The last item taught by Bhishma Deva was the process of pleasing the Lord. We're all eternal servants. Oh, very good. Somebody is posting something. We're all eternal servants of the Lord, and when we forget this essential part of our nature, we are put into material conditions of life. The simple process of pleasing the Lord, for the householders especially, is to install the deity of the Lord at home. Further down. Okay. Nope, further down. Okay. The simple process of pleasing the Lord, for the householders especially, is to install the deity of the Lord at home. By concentrating on the deity, one may progressively go on with the daily routine work, worshiping the deity at home, serving the devotee, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, and chanting the holy name of the Lord are all inexpensive items by which one can please the Lord. Thus, the subject matter was explained by the grandfather to his grandchildren. Now, what is amazing about this is the simplicity of this process. Just before we came to the class yesterday, late in the evening, I had a friend from Canada who was explaining to me that in Quebec province, there was a political party who objected to having a pipeline come from Alberta to Quebec, which would enable the transportation of oil and gas and everything else. Of course, they didn't provide any alternative solution, but whatever their plan is, it is not the plan of Krishna. This is a materialistic idea called ugra karma, or unnecessary work. But if we look at this simple process that is given here, anybody can practice this. It's not complicated. It is not difficult. It is not something that requires great education or a lot of money or a lot of wealth. It is very simple. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad-gītā? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Same basic principle. Neil Shyama Prabhu, are we able to find that verse? Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Let's see if we can display that verse, because I think it contains very similar important instruction. Anyway, until it comes up. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Prabhu. Much appreciated. Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, a water, I will accept it. Purport. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what type of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then he should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked for. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him, and he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetable, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on a level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. The point is here that when we read these purports of Srila Prabhupada, it is a step-by-step detailed analysis of how to live properly, how to conduct ourselves in devotional service. It is given throughout his books. It is simple. It can be done anywhere, anytime, in any condition. And this is very important because I'm sure many of you are in different situations. I know some of you are living, for example, Bhakti Ember is pursuing some educational certificate. She's busy with her scholastic pursuits. She's a devotee. She offers her foodstuff to Krishna. So this is how Prabhupada is explaining how it has to be done. We have Neil Sharma Prabhu, who is a dental surgeon in Florida. Same thing. He practices occupation. We see behind his head, he has a picture of Krishna, a picture of Prabhupada. So this is what Prabhupada is explaining, how to follow Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad-gītā. It is not complicated. It is not difficult. To come back to the point that Vishwakarma Prabhu was raising earlier, that some devotees like to go for a higher knowledge, the Raganuga pursuits, the higher understanding. Now, this is not forbidden. It is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. But the point is, Srila Prabhupada had a very specific preaching method of how he wanted us to practice and how he wanted us to preach. And this is the system that we, as his followers, aspiring followers, should follow. It's not complicated. Because sometimes devotees will ask, well, how can I practice? How can I follow this process? This is given here. This text of Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 13, as well as the text that was displayed, is also explained. Prabhupada further explained that in chapter 9 of the Bhagavad-gītā, in the last verse, there is also an explanation how to follow the process. It's not also difficult. Krishna explains, Manmana bhavan mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, mam eveshyasi yuktvavam, atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Prabhupada explains in the purport, in this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Now, this is very significant. Let me just relate a little story. In Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh, South India, in 1975, Srila Prabhupada was invited to the house of a very wealthy Indian gentleman who had been chosen by the Indian government to become the ambassador to a foreign country. And he had this very beautiful home with multi-level steps in his backyard. He had put a nice pandal. He invited government ministers, very wealthy life members, dignitaries, all different kinds of important people. And Prabhupada was invited to make a presentation of Krishna consciousness. So after Prabhupada's speech, one person asked a question, what is the purpose of Krishna consciousness? What is this for? Prabhupada, the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to make every home around the world into a temple for Krishna. Very simple, not complicated. Now, for those who think that they've become very advanced and want to go to the Gopi Bhav platform and whatever platform they think they're on, they can choose to do that. We'll stick with Prabhupada's platform when he tells us that by practicing and preaching, one eventually will become liberated. And then this will be revealed. This is a safer, better platform than the artificial other way. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, the foremost proponent of Krishna consciousness all over the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo, Hare Krishna. And I was just listening, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, to a lecture where Prabhupada told us in the talk that by the performance of devotional service, Michael, automatically everything will be revealed just by that one activity. That you, instead of focusing on your false ego, on I, me, and mine, you switch your consciousness to serving Krishna, and you perform devotional service sincerely. We may have faults. Yes, we're all conditioned souls. We commit mistakes. We are illusioned. Our senses are imperfect. And we have a cheating propensity. We're like that. But if we apply ourselves sincerely to the process under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master in his Vani incarnation, then automatically all of the purports of the Vedas will be revealed to us by the mercy of Prabhupada and Chaitya Guru, Krishna from within. Yes, and we've been studying that this morning and discussing it. How do you become spiritually advanced? I had a talk with Ron Singh the other day, Bhakta Ron Singh, and we were discussing about one of our godbrothers saying, who is used to be with us, he was saying, oh, you have to develop a love for the spiritual master first. And people objected. We had 10, 15 people that dropped out of the program because they didn't like the preaching. They said, I thought you were supposed to follow the process. And that's the fact. That's what you do. You chant your rounds, you follow the 4 principles of freedom. Now, when someone would say, well, how can you say it's freedom? No illicit sex life, no intoxication, no meat eating, and no gambling. Because there is no karma when you abstain yourself from those actions and dovetail everything in Krishna's service. And we are not vegetarians, everyone. Remember that, Michael. We are Krishnatarians. Vegetarianism is very popular. And so is the vegan movement. And we support their abstinence from eating meat. Yes, it's better. It's the mode of goodness. It's better. But will it liberate you out of the material world? No, it's not prasadam. Prasadam is prophylactic and antiseptic. It purifies you of sinful activities you've committed in the past. Does vegetarianism do that? No. And prophylactic, does it prevent you from committing sinful activities in the future? No. We're not vegetarians. We offer our food to Krishna, and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu brought that up, and Neela Sharma put the verse up. Offer me with love and devotion, a fruit, water, a flower. Simple process. This is simple for the simple and difficult for the crooked. I just sent a message to Romeshwar this morning, Robert Grant in Mayapur, explaining to him there is a difference between Vapu and Vani. And all of us should take the role as Siksha Guru and teach people this principle of Vani to all the new members. And then I put a comment. It is simple for the simple, Romeshwar, but very difficult for the crooked. I hope he took it in the right spirit. That we're not trying to criticize people, not indoctrinate them, educate them. This is not indoctrination. It's education based on scripture, not opinion. The International Society for Opinionators. Opinion has no value. Prabhupada's words and the words of Krishna in the Shastra, when we repeat those and substantiate or verify our statement with their quotes, it's called Shruta. Prabhupada said the scriptures are like little short statements of truth. He says CIF. He said in business, it's cash including freight when you ship something. He uses exactly that example. And we're experiencing that. We're shipping books right now. CIF, cash including freight. Correct, Yaśodā? CIF. It's a sutra. It's a precise explanation of truth based on authoritative statements that we get from our spiritual master and the Shastras that he's giving us. So, very important points that we should understand about the philosophy of how to become Krishna conscious. It's not whimsical. You have to sacrifice. Discipline is important, but sacrifice is more important. Like Jayananda. You can have intellectual knowledge of Krishna consciousness, but surrender is the most important stage where you sacrifice everything, your money, your time, your looks. I was speaking to a devotee yesterday who's very much attached to his long hair. Oh. I said, why do you have your long hair? Well, I took a vow according to the Bible. I said, oh, you took a vow according to the Bible. Where did Jesus say that in the Bible? He goes, it's not in the New Testament, it's in the Old Testament. I go, so it's 3,000 years ago, you're taking a vow. You're not really sure if that scripture is authentic. It could have been changed, just like the Bible, just like the Gita has been changed already within 50 years, and it's all confusing for most people, and most people are indoctrinated by these changes. Yes, very dangerous. How you get instructions, how you learn, and how you become a disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. How do you do it? Well, you have to take good instruction. And I wanted to point out today, very much so, that I'm reading this purport, Prabhupada is speaking in this particular purport from practical experience, and he demonstrated it. Here is the point. One should learn to tolerate, as advised in the Bhagavad-gītā. One should never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress. So one should be detached from the materialistic way of life and be automatically equally posed in both cases, Ron Singh. Generally, when we get something desirable, we are very happy, and when we get something undesirable, we are distressed. But if we are actually in the spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. To reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna without deviation means engaging oneself in the 9 processes of devotional service: chanting, hearing, worshiping, offering respect, as described in the last verse of the 9th chapter. That process should be followed. So here's the example. What happened? We've been reading the diaries, all of us. We have. What happened to Prabhupada when he was living in that office below Dr. Mishra in New York? The door was broken in and they stole his typewriter and his recording devices. And in this way, he had nothing. And when you look at the diary, when we studied it, we saw, did he focus on that in his writings as he proceeded forward? No, he did not at all show any concern for the loss of these very vital items that he had. He only had a few, Nileshama, just a few items, and but they were the most valuable items, but he did not care because he set the perfect example in his own life, and we're reading it in the Gita here. Here it is. Connect the dots. Prabhupada's just not writing for the sake of showing how smart he is. He's writing to educate his disciples as Siksha Guru on how to practice devotional service. So Prabhupada, throughout his life, he demonstrated, and we'll be discussing that further in our discussion as we move forward, in the review of the unauthorized biography. Prabhupada referred to the 4 regulated principles as freedom, principles of freedom, because you're not bound by the modes of nature. They're like ropes that bind you down. And karma is very complicated, everyone. People have asked me multiple questions. When I was in Mexico and our godbrother Gopal died in front of our eyes. Oh yeah, right in front of us. Slowly tortured to death by the material body that he was suffering in. But what happened to him? That's the question. What do you think happened to him, Vishva? I was asked yesterday that question. Did he have Tulsi? Well, we had Tulsi neck beads. We had Radha Kunda dust. We had Vrindavan dust. And I have pictures. I brought him that Nileshama. I had a bottle. It was actually in a bag of Ganges jal. And I took it. It was interesting. When I packed it in my bag up here in Canada, I was feeling the clothes in the suitcase, and it was all wet. I thought, what the heck is this? How did this water get in my suitcase? And what happened was the bag opened and the water started to spread in my suitcase over the water or over my clothes. And I thought, gee, that's unfortunate. And I thought to myself, hold on. How many bags of Ganges gel do I have? I have one. And it's spilling into the suitcase? Okay, Vishva, You got to do something. You can't just let this, pass as, oh, it's an accident, too bad. So I went downstairs, I got a bottle. I thought, okay, I'm going to try to salvage this. I remember the steps. So I went upstairs, got the bag, opened it up, poured the gel into the bottle and put it in my case. Small detail, very small detail, Nilesh Sharma, very small. But consciously I did that. I thought, this is the most important thing for this Prabhu down here. So when I got there, I went in my case, I brought out the bottle of the Ganges water, and I took it to his room. And I said, hey, I brought this Ganges gel for you. He was still conscious for the last 3 weeks or so. It just gradually deteriorated. But nonetheless, he was in the habit every day of drinking that water. He said, oh, I need that water. And it was by his bed. And every time he took a sip of this water, this spiritual mercy, it brought great joy to my heart. Really, it does. It was amazing. I thought, gee, thank God I'm not that stupid that I would have just disregarded this importance and I wouldn't have taken the time. That's all I did. Like you said, Neela, at least I was there. I made the effort. But it was very important for him because we know the transcendental benefits of that. I don't really understand it as, a great devotee or anything, but I understood, yes, there's a value in it. Let him have it. And he drank it. And he drank it for all the period, almost up to the end, when he came back from the hospital, after he had that major surgery on his Nilesh, on his stomach. The first thing he asked for, is there any of the Ganges water here? I said, yeah, by the way, there is. It was by his bed. And he continued to drink it, all to the last drop. So what happened to him? That's the question. They're asking Vishva. Oh, Vishva, karma. What happened to him? Do I look like Krishna in this bag of blood, pus, and urine myself? No. I don't know. And by the way, Nilesh, the intricacies of action are very difficult to understand. It's explained in the Gita. Prabhupada explains it like that. It is hard to understand how action and reaction affect a person's life after they die. It's very complicated. So my answer is, I don't know. All I know is he tried. Krishna was with him. And it is by the mercy of Guru and Krishna that one gains liberation out of this material world. And that is what we are doing, helping each other to get out of this material world by good association. Not contaminated association of, I'm calling it not education, but it is this programming, brainwashing system that they've used, indoctrination in mistruths. I'll finish off. I had one of my god sisters, who I joined the temple with in Hamilton in 1971. She appeared in my life recently. And she wanted me to write some stories about Hiranyagarbha Jagadananda. Okay. She was married to him formally and blah, blah, blah. And she was requested by Bhakti Marg Swami, oh, I want to hear about this. I thought about it, Nilesh, and I said to myself, this guy went while Prabhupada was present and took reinitiation from Lali Prasad in Mayapur. And when I went to Mayapur to see him, he told me the story. And I said, you did this while Prabhupada is personally present here in Mayapur? And he said, yes. And, I meditated on this recently, and I said, something? There's nothing glorious about his life. And I told her, I'm not doing it. I'm not writing anything about him. And she sent me a quote. Oh, we should all become guru. Interpreting it. And she called me a child. Oh, you're nothing but a child. I said, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. But she is not in a position to understand Krishna consciousness when she interprets these quotes from Srila Prabhupada that we should all be guru. And we talked about it at the beginning of the class, as you heard. The difference between Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, etc. And this misunderstanding has been perpetrated by one of our godbrothers in his biography of Srila Prabhupada in 7 volumes. Is it 7? 6 or 7 volumes. I'm studying them because I'm interested to see how deviant he is. And we're fortunate today, as part of our program, to review, I'm going to be correct here, the unauthorized biography of Srila Prabhupada by this disciple. It wasn't authorized, the bio. And because it wasn't, and it was based on his mental speculation of what he thought a pure devotee is or isn't, all this misinformation is being spread throughout the world from these so-called biography writings. Terrible. Indoctrination, not education. And we're going to take this time to move forward with this section with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, where he's going to do the review that he's organizing with a few of his godbrothers and sisters on how to rectify this misinformation campaign. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please carry on.
So we are reading from the Lilamrita Review, section number 3, page number 1. Basically, Lilamrita Review is an analysis of various statements that have been made or written in the so-called Lilamrita or pseudo-Lilamrita, and giving the proper understanding from Prabhupada's statements in his books. Section number 3, half-truth means no truth. We cannot see the bona fide guru from 2 different points of view. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed, logically, if one accepts half the truth, he cannot understand the whole. From Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 7, text 140. We may say that Srila Prabhupada is a completely spiritual person in that, since he is therefore like Krishna, he can only be understood from a spiritual point of view, through the medium of bona fide Shastra. This is true. However, sometimes we may turn the understanding of the Shastra into half-truths by concocting that the bona fide spiritual master may also be seen and understood from a material point of view. Thus, we will not be able to understand the whole. Our understanding becomes a misunderstanding. If someone, in the name of glorifying His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, also criticizes him by attributing to him such mundane qualities as destitution, insecurity, vulnerability, directionlessness, familiar attachment, dependency on anyone and everyone, attainment of knowledge via material experiences, etc., then Srila Prabhupada's spiritual authority is brought into question. Interpreting the Vedic literature minimizes the authority of the Vedas. Mixing the spiritual with the mundane allows the mundane to be accepted as spiritual and the spiritual to be considered in a mundane manner. There is an example of the gardener who allows a mad elephant to enter his garden and then rationalizes, only 50% of my activities were mistaken. I cultivated the garden very nicely, but on the other hand, I permitted the entrance of that mad elephant. However, whatever percentage of mistake the gardener wishes to concede, the result is nevertheless that the entire garden is destroyed. Prabhupada then explains This is from Nectar of Instruction, page 61. When one actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Sagunan samatityaitan. Krishna's devotee is not subject to material conditions, even though his bodily feature may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see the pure devotee from a material point of view. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hatimata, the mad elephant offense. A mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters a nicely trimmed garden. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For a neophyte devotee especially, considering a pure devotee from a material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing the pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. From Nectar of Instruction, page 61, and there's a note there that when it says one should try to see in the sense of Shastra Chakshu, seeing through the scriptures. Hare Krishna, back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada, thank you very much. And I've been thinking about our opportunity here, all of us. And I had an experience like this, Neela Shama, where in Hamilton here years ago, I had built the most popular music group. Oh yeah. And it wasn't with me, but it was the team that we assembled. And the people were in the team were extremely good at what they did. It was a team. It wasn't me. It was us as a group. And it became very popular, believe me. There were thousands, tens of thousands of people that came out to see our shows every week. I called it Soulful Sundays. And I told these people, I said, at the height of it, I said, you know something? We're living a dream here, but the dream could dissolve any moment. So be careful. And sure enough, within a due course, it all dissolved. It disappeared. The whole thing, it's just a memory. So like that, we have this group that we've created. Yes, we've created it. We created this program, and we're all together. And for some of us, it's ecstatic. And we're thinking, I don't want this to ever end. Hey, Mother Ruchisha, do you want this to stop? What if I called you up and said, okay, we've canceled the whole thing? Would you be happy? No, you wouldn't. None of us would be. Because it's an opportunity. Yes, it is. A real opportunity, a blessing. I want all of you to pray for us, please, every one of you, that you'll protect all of the devotees in this group and protect us in our efforts to preserve Prabhupada's legacy by reminding everyone that Prabhupada still lives in his Vani incarnation while we still can do it together. Please pray for us that we have the strength and the good health to stay together for as long as possible. I mentioned that to Rupa Goswami. I said, Prabhu, hurry. We're creating this guide. Hurry on this, hurry on that. Hurry. I push him because time is of the essence. Oh, don't worry, Prabhu. I'm going to bless you. You're going to live for years and years and years. Well, thank you. But is that the reality? No. It could be over in a second. Any one of us could leave, and then everything changes a bit. Hopefully everyone will be trained up and fixed up, and this thing will carry on without any disturbance or interruption. Yes, we don't want it to stop. We want people to take up the service and feel that this is Nilashama, a golden opportunity for us. Do not minimize this. No, not you specifically. Anyone. Don't minimize it, because soon it'll be over. Just know it. I've seen it, I know it, and I understand it. But at the same time, we're going to take advantage of this opportunity to sacrifice. Someone, well, sacrifice? I don't want to do that. Okay, don't sacrifice. Don't surrender, don't listen, offend, do whatever you want. And if you don't like it, don't come. I'm not telling you don't come. If you don't like it, don't come. Birds of the same feather flock together. It's like bamboo. Prabhupada used the example, Nilesh, and you know it. You put 5 pieces, I know it in India, you take 1 stick of bamboo, you can break it on your leg. You take 5 bound together, you can't do anything. We are building a team of very solid people with us. And it's interesting, and I'll go to the panel. I'm getting a correspondence with a young devotee, 15 years old, from the States. And he sent me a note last week. He described his situation. His parents are against him. At 15, it's like Prahlad. They don't like what he's doing. He's following he says to me, I'm following the 4 regulated principles. Okay. And I'm chanting my rounds. And I came to your class a year ago, and I love what I'm experiencing with your group. Is there any advice you could give me? I told him, respect your parents. Become a good student and keep on coming to the classes and hearing the philosophy. He goes, well, I have lots of questions. Well, if you have questions, you'll get answers at this class for sure. You will. And if you have more questions, you want to keep asking questions. Okay, I can give you an answer. I told him, call me anytime. Call me anytime. 24 hours a day. Just call me. I'm here for you. That's the business of the Prabhupada disciples. We're available for everybody and everything all of the time. We're interested in sacrifice, not just in discipline. So we'll move forward with our group here. And I'm going to ask Ron Singh if he could share a few comments this morning on today's discussion. Ron Singh, are you by a phone or in a car or at your ashram in Oroville, by the lake, by the river? Haribol.
Hare Krishna. I'm in the car, so I'm listening.
Okay, I knew you were somewhere.
So yes, the Shravanam process is very important. Prabhupada established that right from the very beginning. Shravanam process from an authorized person, and we're reading Srila Prabhupada's original books and hearing from it. And then if we have any questions, Vishwakarma, Yaśodā-nandana, they're there to help you. And we're also there to assist devotees in their spiritual progress. That's why I took up the responsibility of trying to set up an ashram in Oroville and inviting people to come have an experience there. You know, there's many scopes of services that is available. And all the devotees here should take that opportunity to utilize this opportunity to make something nice for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada wanted everyone to become trained up and spread this Krishna consciousness in every town and village. So we're doing that. Every individual person should be empowered on our show to make this happen at whatever capacity they can. So this is one of my services that I've taken up. So I'd like to encourage all the devotees here who are presently here, because this won't last forever. Vishwakarma and I, we have talked, Ishora as well. we have talked over the many years of what is the solution. So this is the solution that we have created here. And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for everyone. So thank you very much to all the devotees who are participating. Let them become empowered to make a big change in this world by spreading Srila Prabhupada's movement in every town and village.
Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. I don't see his face, but I imagine he's by the camera. Prabhu, can you access your camera? Dharma Bhavana, please. Maybe he's in a car. Not available. Neela Sharma, your hand's up. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
Haribol, very interesting discussion which we had here. I'd like to mention about one little part about you, Vishwakarma Prabhu, that you were talking about Ganga, the Ganges water, the water of the Ganga river. You know, typically in all homes of Sanatanis, we have something like this, which is called the Gangajal Patra. It is a very solid one, which is sealed with a metal, container, which has the water of the Ganges, which is sealed. And generally, all Sanatanis in traditional India, they have this patra so that at the time of death, they can somebody can put a few drops over it. And in fact, if somebody is interested, there is it is available even here on Amazon. You can see all this. So brass Ganga Jal Patra and pot. The question is whether it's authenticity, it is really Ganga Jal or it's something else, who knows. So if you get it yourself and you buy it yourself, that would be interesting. So I have a question on this part with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Is Ganga, the river Ganga passes through Varanasi, which is Banaras, which is the mainstay of Mayavad philosophy. And in Vallabhacharya's Sampradaya, which is the Rudra Sampradaya, which is the Pushti Marg, they say that we are more devotees as Vaishnavas of Yamuna Maharani, the river Yamuna, And there's a very famous Gujarati bhajan which says, Vandan karu Shri Yamuna ji ne Shri Krishna Ashrayabjo, meaning I'm bowing down to the river Yamuna or Yamuna Devi so that she can give me a shelter of Lord Shri Krishna. And they say that if you were to drink Ganga Jal, it is more of an impersonal liberation. But if you drink from the river Yamuna, you can remember Krishna in the personified form because he has done so many leelas in that river Yamuna. So I wonder what Srila Prabhupada's position is there, because I tried kind of looking up, but I couldn't find anything where he specifies anything on Ganga Jal or Yamuna Jal. But your input, because you have extensively traveled in India during Srila Prabhupada's time.
That's a very good point you're raising. There is mention in the first canto of the Bhagavatam in one purport that the water of the Yamuna is very specially sacred, because when Krishna was being carried from Mathura to Vrindavan, his lotus feet touched the water. So this is the Yamuna is considered very sacred. But it's not that we consider that one is better than the other or one is inferior to the other. It's not quite like that. That's why there is a very famous mantra in India, this Gange cha Yamune cheva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin Sadidim Kuru, that these 7 rivers are very sacred, that the Brahmins, they use an Achman cup to bring these waters of the holy rivers. Now, what happens? I live here in the mountain, and for some reason, in the morning, even in the very early morning, the water is very cold. Because what happened? They get the water from some reservoir 6,000-7,000 feet above sea level, several miles from here. They take the water by conduit, and they go and they put whatever fluoride they put in there. Then they bring it back and charge people for the water. but because it's high level in the mountain, it's very cold. So that cold water in the morning is, when you take a bath, if you recite that mantra, all 7 of these holy rivers will benefit you. So even if somebody is not able to buy that Ganges water, if somebody or other, a relative of somebody knows that mantra, you can take any cup, even tap water, and the water, these sacred rivers will come into that cup. So that is the benefit. This is very special. That's why when Brahmins do these ceremonies, like temple opening ceremonies, pratishta ceremonies, pran pratishta ceremonies, they recite these mantras, bringing the sacred water into the kalasha, the sacred Vishnu pot. So this is very important. Now, the Yamuna River is very sacred. That is definitely there. But also, Lord Balaram was very upset with some of the members of the Kuru dynasty, and he used his plow to create problem with that river. That's why the Yamuna River is very crooked in many places between Delhi and Vrindavan. That is also there. But we have no such thing of trying to differentiate that one is better than the other or one is inferior to the other. It's all completely transcendental. Because as a matter of fact, the Akshaya Tritiya day we just observed on Thursday, that is the day that Ganga came to this planet. Very, very special. Very, very special. Good question, though. I appreciate the question. I really love that picture behind you. We all love that, where Srila Prabhupada is getting his transcendental inspiration from Krishna, Arjuna, and Radha Krishna behind. This is very beautiful. I also see that Roshishra, Srila Prabhupada, coming down the elevator. Well, in her case, we know it's manifested from her heart. It's not just a picture. She manifests that picture of Prabhupada straight from her heart. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Amazing. Wasn't that amazing, Neela Sharma, his explanation? Phenomenal. Information that is true nectar from the spiritual world. Thank you very much. And I have a side story I can tell you, Nilesh Sharma. I had met a guy in Kitchener here in Ontario some years ago. I think it was about 12, 14 years ago. And he wanted to import Ganga Jal in Ontario here. So he asked me, well, would you help me with it? I said, yeah, sure. And I bought 50 cases of Ganga Jal, Yaśodā. 50 cases of those bags. And I put them in my closet. I stacked them. It was huge stacks of Ganga Jal. I think there was 18 pouches in a box, Nilesh. And of course, the whole thing failed. And what happened to me? Well, I had all the boxes of Ganga Jal. I had them. Stacks and stacks of bags of water. So guess what I did? Over 2 years, I drank a bag of Ganga Jal every day for 2 years. I thought, well, and by the way, they were in plastic bags, Yaśodā, and because the water can never be contaminated, every time I poured it out into the glass, it was always crystal clear, perfect water from the Ganges mountain. Absolutely perfect. And I drank all the cartons myself. Thank you very much. I don't know, it was just a circumstance. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you, everyone. And please remember, send your prayers for all of us that this group will carry on and continue to spread the benediction moon of the truth of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, His Divine Grace, who is living with all of us in his transcendental sound vibration, his Vani incarnation. Haribol. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna for 2 minutes and 54 seconds, and then we'll have our closing prayers led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Haribol, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and we're full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively reading and discussion. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California. Neil Sharma Prabhu in Florida. And Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, India. Pierangelo Prabhu in Switzerland. Hare Krishna. Rochisa Mataji dans la belle province de Quebec. Shiv Narayan Prabhu from Japan. Bhakti Nember from Texas. Ron Singh in Oroville, California. If anybody is interested in participating in the program, please contact us or contact Dr. Ron. We will make sure that you have plenty of opportunities to help. And everybody who is participating in the program, Dharma Bhavana Prabhu, Kanta Prabhu in Trinidad, Triloka Vijay in Florida. And please listen, join us for some beautiful kirtan with some Jamaican Vaishnava devotees. We humbly beg for your participation. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Please also join us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for Srimad Bhagavatam, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 a.m. Eastern Coast Time in Florida time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,